Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to fully understand the switch statement in JavaScript. By the end of this video, you'll know what a switch statement is, how it works, when to use it, common mistakes, and real life examples, all in one video. What is a switch statement? So, a switch statement is a control structure that allows us to execute different blocks of code based on value of a single expression. So, based on this expression, uh, so what this expression evaluates to, if it evaluates to volume 1, this block of code is run. If it is value 2, this block is run. If it's not either of these values, then the default block is run. We'll see more clearly about it as we dive deep into this. So for now, understand that it is mainly used when we have multiple fixed values to compare against one value. So this is one value and we have multiple values to compare to. So we'll first see the basic syntax of switch. So we'll have switch keyword, and similarly, as if block, we'll have a parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis we'll have expression. So we can have expression like 2 plus 2, or we can have expression like you know 3 multiplies 4, or we can have a variable here, just a variable. Yeah. So and in we'll start a switch block. Between the curly braces we'll have cases with different values. So if this expression evaluates to value 1, this code is run, and this break statement will break the switch block. So once this code is run, it will break and it will come out of the switch block. So if value 1 is if expression evaluates to value 1, this code is run, breaks and comes out of the switch block. If it is value 2, break, come out of the switch block. If it is not either of this value, then block the default block runs, and this code is run if the expression does not match any of the values. This is how a switch code is. So JavaScript checks the expression once and then compares it with each case using strict equality. So not just the value, it should be also equal, the same type. It should also be the same type. So 2 plus 2 equals 4, but you cannot have a string 4 here. You need to have a number 4. So it will evaluate with strict equality. Now we'll see a simple example of how this is working. I told you, like, you can have you'll have an expression here for or a variable. So we are having a variable here, day. So we'll see this example. So we are declaring a variable day and assigning Monday to it, right? So now we wrote the keyword switch, and in place of expression we have the variable day here. Now just look at our case blocks. So case 1, we have Monday. The next case we have Friday, and the next we have Sunday. If it's not these three, we have a default block, and the default block says just another day, right? So if we execute this code, so it is saying start of the work week, because the day is strictly equal to Monday. This part of the code is run, and it encounters break, so it comes out of the switch block. Again, if we change this to Friday, similarly, this part of the code will be run, and it will come out of the switch block. So we'll see again. So we change the day to Friday. Now if we run the code, so it says almost the weekend, which is for Friday, for the case Friday. And similarly, if it's not Sunday, not Friday, not Monday, let's say Tuesday. So just another day. just another day, which is a default block. This is how switch case executes. So it evaluates the expression and it compares the value with each case statement, and if it matches, like any of the case statement matches, then it will execute that particular set of code. If it doesn't match, it will execute the default block, and it will come out of the switch block. So comment this for now. Yeah. Importance of break. So you see break here, you see break in every case here, right? So what is important, like why is it needed, so if you see, like case Monday here, if we don't write break, what happens? Like if we are telling JavaScript that if you execute, like if it is Monday, execute this and come out of the switch. We are a break is telling JavaScript that you need to come out of switch. Why do we need it? Like why do we need to mention break in every case statement? So I'll show you with an example. So this example, we don't have any break statements. We don't have any break statements. So case 1 console log 1, case 2 console log 2, and case 3 console log 3, but we don't have any break statements uh, in this. Now if you could see this number is equal to 2, so our number will be equal to 2, and our case 1 is ignored. And this will be true, so it should execute our case 2 and should print 2 to the console, but instead it is printing 2 and 3. So what is happening here? Because without break, JavaScript continues executing the next cases. This behavior is called fall through. So it came across, so it tried to compare with this case, and the value is 1 here, but 2 is not equal to 1, so it ignored this case. And when it came here, it compared this, and number is equal to 2. It executed this case, and from then it is executing all other cases also, because there is no break. That is why we need break to prevent this fall through. Otherwise, if we have, let's say, like we have multiple cases, so this is 4, this is 5, this is 6 and 7 and 8. So let's say we have 8 cases, and then case 2, we only want case 2 to be printed, right? But because we don't have break statements, right, so we can see all case statements are executing. That is the importance of break statements here. So when fall through is useful, like you saw, without break what is happening here, but when that type of behavior is useful, so we also have an example for that. So there is a fruit, and we assigned apple to that variable, and in switch, we in place of expression we wrote that variable which is fruit. Now look at our cases. The first case is if fruit is apple, and the second case is if fruit is banana, and the third case is if fruit is orange. So for any of these cases, we want only one output, which is to print this is a fruit. That's it. Yes, this is a fruit. Now if we are not using fall through, so we'll write code something like this, right? So we'll write code something like this. So for apple, this is a fruit break. For banana, this is a fruit break. Orange, this is a fruit break. And default, this is not a fruit. So if you remember dry principle, we should not repeat ourselves, right? We try not to repeat ourselves. So we are repeating ourselves. So to ignore, like to prevent this from happening. To write a more clean code, we can use fall through. So now what happens here is, so if apple is there, so in fall through it is executing all the cases from which the expression is being evaluated. Like when the expression is compared to one case and it is if it is true, from that case it is executing all the cases till it encounters a break statement, right? So now fruit is apple, so switch fruit. Now case 1 apple, yeah, it's true. It compared the value, it's true. It is executing this, it did not find any break, and it is executing this. Case 2 banana, did not find break, and then it came to case orange. Again it did not find it, oh sorry, it found break, so it executes this and exits out of that switch block, right? Exits out of the switch block. This way we can make use of that fall through behavior. So without using, we have many cases, but we want all the cases to do the same thing. In such cases, we can use that fall through, ignore the break statement and make the switch give us the expected result. So yeah, now the default case. So you can see that we can write switch case without the default statement. The default statement, the default case runs when no case matches. Like there is grade E, so here A, B, C, and there is nothing else. But the default case is not A, nor B or C, right? So the default case runs in this situation, in this scenario, because when no case matches, the default case runs. It is if you could remember if else block, it is very similar to the if else block. So in the nested else if chains, if no condition is evaluating to true, everything is false, then the last block which is going to be executed is the else block. Similarly here, switch is going to run the default block if no case matches. So default case if no case matches. So we'll see this invalid grade, because it is not A or B or C. It is the default case is being run, and we are it is printing invalid grade to the console. This is the default grade. So we'll see switch versus if else. And before that, I need to tell you something else. So in the background, what is happening, like how this is evaluating is switch is using triple equal to, strict equality, not double equals. Because if I write here, yeah, so let's write break. So we have this one, this code. Now if you can see, lose equal to is something like this: 2 equals to string of 2. So lose equal to does not have a problem. Lose, like double equals, does not have a problem here. It still evaluates to true, but it doesn't work in switch case. So if we write a string 2, now if it uses lose equals, like double equals, then this should be equal to case 2, and we need to see the output 2 printed to the console. But in this case nothing is printed because it is using strict equality, which is the type should also be matching. Yeah, the type should also be matching. And I think now okay, at the end of the video we'll discuss about it. Yeah, so switch versus if else. So in if else chain also we are checking for multiple conditions. In switch also we are checking for multiple values, right? So what is the difference? You should use a switch statement when you are checking one variable. So if you can see here, we are checking only one variable against multiple values. and you want this way you can write a more a readable code, and it is much cleaner, right? See, if you could see the same thing, you are asking like day is equal to Sunday, or day equal to Friday, or day equal to Monday. You're trying to write the conditions too many times. You're repeating else if. Yeah, and this seems clumsy compared to this, right? So in such cases, you need to use a switch instead of if else. Both these does the same thing. So if condition do this, else if do this, else if this condition and do this, else another day. Instead of that, it is very clean to write, switch day case. If it is Monday, run this. It is much cleaner. And this is one more example. So traffic traffic lights. It is similar. So this we have a variable light, and we are giving it a variable a color, red, green, or yellow, and based on that, it will the program will tell us to stop or get ready or go. So if in default case, we'll see signal error because we are giving here some other value other than red, yellow, green. So if we run it now, we can see green is there, so it is asking us to go. If we change it to red, then it is asking us to stop. Again, you can write the same code in if else, but you have to repeat the conditions multiple times. But in this case, you can just write more cases. This is much easy to read because we know by looking at it, we can easily understand that we are comparing light, the value of light, with these variables. So if we look at the if else statement, then we need to look at each condition, to understand what's happening here, because anytime the condition can change. I can write some different condition here. I can write a different condition here, and it doesn't matter if it's true, this will still evaluate. But here, if I write a different value, this will not evaluate, this will not be executed, right? So this is how switch case works. And common mistakes, these are like not big mistakes which will give you major errors, something like that. These are very tiny mistakes, which is like forgetting break. If you run your program, you will easily understand, like you're doing a mistake here. So forgetting break, and you're expecting switch to work like boolean. So you will write something like 3 greater than 5, something like that. So it is not going to work with conditions like that. Okay, but you can write 2 plus 2, and you can write values here. And mixing data types. So here light is red, right? And this is a string, and I need to write case with value which is string. If I write a number here, then it will never execute. If I write case 1 or case 5, no matter what, it is never going to execute, it is never going to run. So you need to be aware of your data types. And also forgetting default case. This is not required every time. Like there are situations where you can write without this, but this will give you, even if you don't write this default case, the program will still run. But you don't know if you are doing a mistake. You will be expecting, something, some output, but it will not give you any output. And without default statement, you will not understand where the bug is, where you are doing mistake. So if I change to some different color, say orange, now there is no mistake in syntax, there is no mistake in your code, nothing is mistake, but nothing is printed. Like you're expecting some output, but you're not seeing anything. You don't know what the mistake is, like, because it is known conditions, known values, like all these things, but you wrote the program, that's why you understand and you fix it quickly. But if you don't know the values, you if you don't know the variable, the input, what will you tell the user? So that case, user has, wait, sorry, in that case, default default is helpful. So if any other value is entered other than this value, print this to the user. You're asking user to enter a color, user is entering some color, so you are trying to output something based on that color. But what if the user enters an unknown color? In that case, your default case works, like it is helpful. Okay. And when not to use switch. So right now I told you like when to use them. So but when not to use switch, you need to check ranges, like say this is 10, but you want to check if that 10 is greater than something or less than something. So you can't uh, write greater than 10 here. So you can't check this range, like you can't do something like this here. Yeah. And you need complex conditions. These are like simple conditions, but when the condition is complex, like you it is better to use if else blocks, because you can be very specific about the conditions. And also you are checking multiple variables. Here it is like only one variable checking against all these values, but if you have multiple variables and you cannot go on writing multiple switch cases. Okay. In those cases, if else is better. So switch checks one expression at a time, and cases are matched using strict equality. Break prevents fall through, and I explained you what fall through is and how we can use it sometimes. And the default case, which is like an else block in if else statement. And also switch improves readability, so it is much cleaner. Yep, that's it. That's everything you need to know about switch statement in JavaScript. If you truly understand how switch works, when to use it, how case break and default cases behave, you're already thinking like a programmer. uh, Not just writing code, but making smart decisions in your logic is also important. Programming is all about choosing the right tool for right situation. Uh, and the switch statement is one of those tools that helps keep your code clean, readable, and professional. Everyone knows stuff, but if you know when to use what, then your life and your work will be a lot easier. In this If this video helped you, make sure to like the video. It really supports the channel. Share it with anyone who's learning JavaScript and might be struggling with decision making in code. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss more beginner friendly explanations like this one. Thanks for watching, and happy coding.